Ellen Thomas is a member of the Coordinating Committee of World Beyond War. She's a co-chair of the Disarm End Wars Committee of the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, U.S. section. She lives in the mountains of North Carolina. She spent 25 years in Washington, D.C., 18 of them maintaining a day and night vigil for global disarmament in front of the White House. With her husband, Vigil founder William Thomas, she co-founded the Peace House 10 blocks from the Vigil, which she managed from 2002 until his death in 2009. Thomas travels quite a bit to promote a bill in the U.S. Congress that has been introduced every session since 1994 after a successful voter initiative that Thomas and other Vigilers brought in Washington, D.C. You can learn more at prop1.org, P-R-O-P, numeral 1.org, for a history of the Nuclear Weapons Abolition and Economic and Energy Conversion Act. See also the text and write a letter to your congressperson asking for co-sponsorship. There's supposed to be a link here to a page on rootsaction.org. Thomas has been collecting information about nuclear issues and since December 1998 posting what she has learned on Yahoo at Nuke News. She is a videographer with an amazing library of events since the mid-1980s and most recently has been moderating the Facebook pages Nuke News and Eye on Congress, among others, and even more recently videoing this convention. So, yes. Ellen Thomas.
Well, that was my speech. I want to tell you, when I went to jail in 1988 for camping in front of the White House, I went for 3 months. When they took me through all that, checking out all your cavities and everything, then they issued me a double blade safety radio. Yeah. In prison, a double blade safety radio. I don't know if they still do that, but I was pretty surprised by that. So I love the title of this talk today, this workshop, Ending the Nuclear Nightmare. As Marie has so well laid out, it's definitely got to be done. And I'd like to announce that Women's International League for Peace and Freedom has taken on a project which we call Let's End the Whole Nuclear Era Everywhere. And I'm going to, yeah, you want to, thank you. And we are, and I need one of those so I can go through it with you. And just last week we were in Chicago at our triennial. Every 3 years we have a Congress, and at that Congress we decided to really focus our attention on doing something similar to what you're doing, only on a nationwide level, and that is a petition to the U.S. President and Senate asking them to, I call upon the President to sign and the Senate to give its consent to ratify this treaty. In addition, I call upon you to safely and speedily remove all U.S. nuclear weapons from all foreign sites, wherever they are stationed or deployed. And further, I call on you to lead the way to negotiate the total elimination of nuclear weapons and to redirect current and planned nuclear weapons spending to human and environmental needs. It goes into, there's a paragraph about nuclear weapons in the treaty, which we've already heard about. And we are hoping, we're going to be putting this up on Roots Action, hopefully today. And I want to get it on change.org and every other site that imaginable to try to get people interested in signing this petition. And we want to let the United Nations know that people in the United States are working on this. And we hope, we spoke about this, and we would really love it if WHAM would join your petitions with ours, and we can do some kind of a symbolic delivery to the United Nations. We're thinking perhaps United Nations Day, October 21st. So, okay. And Leah Bolger over there has been involved in the discussions on this and is a wonderful WILF member. For the last 2 years, I've been going on a nuclear-free future tour of the United States, visiting Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, is also known as WILF, visiting the WILF branches around the country and talking about this campaign and what this means. And while I was on the road, I started learning about just what are the effects of the nuclear weapons programs. You know, the $1.4 trillion that President Trump wants to invest in modernizing the nuclear weapons program goes on top of 60 years of nuclear weapons, nuclear power and nuclear waste, which lead to nuclear weapons. And the waste has been getting into the soil and the air and the water all over the country. And there's no money for cleanup, and they keep continuing to say that we can, you know, this power plant, oh, it's due to be shut down now. No, let's give it another 20 years. And there were a couple of sites that I actually visited on tour this year that really affected me, and I wanted to tell you about them and see if there can't be some way to try to do something about them. One is in St. Louis, Missouri. There is still radioactive material from the Manhattan Project that is at the landfill, the West Lake Landfill, which is on the edge of the river there. And for several years now, there's been an underground fire that they can't put out, and it's headed towards this nuclear waste. And there's a community that was built up around this landfill many years ago. People that weren't told that there was radioactive waste in there. And the people want to move, but they can't sell their houses to somebody because they don't want to give their problem to somebody else. And money is just not available to help them get out of there. And also money doesn't seem to be available to help stop the fire and do something about getting rid of that waste either, because we're spending the money on the military and on new weapons. Another place similar to that is a beautiful little town in the mountains of Tennessee called Irwin. And it's on the Nolichucky River, and there's these hills, and then there's this little stream going through it, and there's houses along there, and then there's this great big plant. And at this great big plant, they've been making fuel rods for our nuclear navy. And also they've been taking the fuel rods back that no longer are as functional to reprocess and then make new fuel rods. And in the reprocessing, they're producing plutonium and highly enriched uranium. And they have all sorts of other chemicals, which I wish that my brain could manage to hang on to all this stuff, but it just doesn't seem to want to do that. But believe me, it's very toxic. And a woman who is a member of WILF now, Linda Modica, who used to work for the IRS as an investigator of corporate deductions, so she's a good researcher. She moved to that area, and she started hearing about people having cancers. And she got in touch with a scientist who would work with her. And they started going down the Nolichucky River 90 miles, pounding galvanized pipes into the sediment, and then pulling it out, shipping it off to labs, and getting the reports back. And in every one of those reports, there was terrible stuff. There was radioactive and other toxic materials, and all the way down to Douglas Lake. My mother's name was Douglas, so I'm really annoyed by that. And so Linda, she put on gloves while she was working with this, but she didn't put anything on her arms. And within a couple of years, she had melanoma on both arms, and she had stomach cancer, and she went through several years of serious treatments because she's back. We didn't see her for a while. She didn't tell anybody, but now that she's feeling better, she's back. And so they started doing some other work. They went and knocked on doors in the town in one street, there were 43 houses, and asked people about their health, and they found out that out of those 43 houses, there were 28 of them that had people who had either died of cancer or were struggling with cancer right then. There was a school just right around the corner from this toxic place, and an elementary school. And one day, a sinkhole happened in the playground, and they closed the school temporarily. And I guess they must have tested the sinkhole, because then the school was closed permanently, and the kids are being shipped off someplace else. And during Gregory Jasko's time in the DOE, was it the NRC, right? I can't ever remember those. Anyway, he was the head of one of those agencies, and he was going to do a formal cancer study, but then somebody said that he wasn't a nice guy and he had to quit. And so they not only canceled the cancer study, but they extended the life of Nuclear Fuel Services plant for another 25 years. So those people in Erwin, Tennessee are basically written off as expendable. And these are just examples of many places. Aiken, South Carolina, and across the river, Augusta, Georgia, where the Savannah River site is. They're just shipping waste from all over the place to that area, and the Savannah River is terribly polluted. And it's a beautiful river, and it's such a shame. Our water is so important to us. What are they doing to us? And when are they going to stop, and when are we going to stop them, and how are we going to stop them? Now, right now, there are shipments of highly radioactive liquid waste being transported from Chalk River, Canada, to the Savannah River site. Back in 1970, there was discussion about, there were some rules laid out about what was acceptable in terms of transporting nuclear waste. And they spoke about solid waste, but when it came to liquid waste, it was supposed to be kept on site. That is just too dangerous, because solid waste you can pick up and move, but liquid waste gets into the environment. Well, now they're shipping 150 large canisters of highly radioactive waste, and who knows what could happen. I live near I-85, and there was a truck accident just a couple of months ago where two semis crashed into each other and caught on fire. There's accidents, and driving, I've been doing a lot of driving the last 2 years, and it's not like it used to be. There's so many people now, and they go so fast, and they have such big vehicles, And the infrastructure, of course, is failing because we're not investing in the infrastructure. We're investing in the weapons and the wars. They are, we aren't. Well, if we're paying taxes, we are. I agree that not paying taxes is a good thing to do. So, David mentioned that Eleanor Holmes Norton of Washington, D.C. has been introducing a bill into Congress every session up until last session called the Nuclear Weapons Abolition and Economic and Energy Conversion Act. She hasn't introduced it this session, and I think it's because of the new nuclear weapons ban treaty. And so we're going to be rewriting that bill so that it reflects what's going on right now and see if she will introduce it. But we do have this treaty for the Senate, and that is for the House. And I'd like to go over that with you, except I don't have it in front of me here. Oh, here it is. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. It says, the U.S. government shall provide leadership to negotiate and enter into a multilateral treaty for the dismantlement and elimination of all nuclear weapons in every country under strict and effective international control, and redirect resources that are being used for nuclear weapons, and converting all nuclear weapons industries smoothly to constructive, ecologically beneficial peacetime activities, including strict control of fissile materials and radioactive waste, and in addressing human and infrastructure needs, including development and deployment of sustainable, carbon-free, and nuclear-free energy sources, healthcare, housing, education, agriculture, and environmental restoration, including long-term radioactive waste monitoring. There's a clause here that seems to be the one that gets in the way, and we're thinking about whether we should keep it, and your thoughts on that would be great, but I'm sure that you would like to keep it, and that's undertake vigorous, good faith efforts to eliminate war, armed conflict, and all military operations, and actively promote policies to induce all other countries to join in these commitments. And we've gotten co-sponsors over the years, but we need a lot more. This year, Jan Schakowsky of Chicago, Raul Grijalva of Arizona, and John Lewis of Atlanta, Georgia, have all said that they would co-sponsor the bill when Norton reintroduces it, and we need more co-sponsors. We also want to support Representative Raul Grijalva in introducing the uranium mining moratorium and cleanup bill that he has been negotiating with some members of the Lakota, I don't know which tribe it is. But no, it's the Lakota, I believe it's Sioux, yeah. Charmaine Whiteface is Defenders of the Black Hills is a member of WILP, and she's been a leader in that and is quite eloquent about it. And Grijalva said that he would introduce it, but he hasn't done it yet, and so we need to put some pressure on him or encourage him to do it, I think. And he's a good guy, so that I don't know why he hasn't introduced it. And then we should support Senator Markey and Representative Liu's Restricting First Use of Nuclear Weapons Act, because we want to make sure that Mr. Trump and his successors can't go ahead and drop a bomb without permission of Congress. But that doesn't go nearly far enough. We really, really have to push the nuclear weapons ban treaty and insist that our government sign on to this treaty and do it rapidly. Set an example. We've set an example of being the bad guy. Let's be the good guy for a change.